Cody Ziegler and Michael Dowling pit Ben Reilly against himself as the hero begins to have doubts on if he is being the right type of Spider-Man in Peter's absence. But his existential crisis is put on hold when Kraven the Hunter returns to the city and targets Spider-Man for his greatest hunt yet. Cody Ziegler begins a new portion of the Beyond story arc by continuing to explore Ben's position as Spider-Man and within the Beyond Corporation's hierarchy. The corporation also begins to show their less than ethical standards as they send Spider-Man out to be one of their board members' personal babysitters, kind of showing that they kind of put their own people before anyone else. Cody also gives Ben a moment to slow things down a little bit and think about his role as Spider-Man, and it begins to cast doubts on if working for Beyond was the right choice. This all ties perfectly into Kraven's reappearance and how he is hunting Spider-Man thanks to his newfound quote-unquote selling out to a corporation, which is a really unique take on Kraven's targeting of Spider-Man, so I'm looking forward to getting into that next issue. Michael Dowling comes on board with some really great, more realistic looking artwork with some fantastic action sequences depicting Spider-Man stopping an armed robbery, and a great Kraven design fueled by hallucinations from a drug he infects Spider-Man with, so he creates this pretty terrifying version of the Hunter. The Amazing Spider-Man issue 79 was another great issue that explored Ben's building doubts about being Spider-Man and what Beyond stands for, mixed in with the return of a classic Superman villain that all makes for a fun and exciting issue. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10. The Amazing Spider-Man issue 79 finds the Beyond staff celebrating a successful first week on the job, all heading out to a bar. Doug, however, heads home in a good mood, singing in the pouring rain when suddenly something spooks him in an alley. Later on, Ben Reilly is subject to more tests thanks to the recent Morbius incident, meaning he's been upgrading his suit, but it's taking too long thanks to the new hire Doug not showing up for work. Ben wonders what the odds of being bitten by a vampire twice in the same month are, and Marcus knows that's the type of concern they are paid to have, reminding Ben to take his duties a bit more seriously. Ben does, and it's why he wants to be there helping, wanting to do the firmware update the techs are doing himself. Marcus reminds him of the considerable resources Beyond is putting into him, and he's out there representing Beyond's interests the best way he can. Ben knows that Beyond does not own him, and he is his own man and own Spider-Man, taking his leave as he tells Marcus that he was chosen over the other guy because he's too bullheaded and strong-willed, and wanted to have his own thoughts, and he thinks his job is to help people, not make Beyond look good. Marcus tells him that it's both, reminding the hero his patrol starts soon. Ben takes his leave, swinging through the city. Ben knows that the Beyond techs are trying to see where he's going, but thanks to him actually doing the firmware update the night before, he added in a simple AI that allows him to turn off the suit's tracking. He does so as he goes to visit Peter, telling MJ that he doesn't want to intrude, but MJ is more than happy to have him there, noting how corporate life seems to be treating him well. Ben knows that it's been okay, but answering to a board is often scarier than fighting even the Rhino. He asks if MJ wants some time off from looking after Peter, so MJ leaves to raid some vending machines, letting Ben have some time alone with Peter. Ben knows that he's definitely looked better, but knows that he'll get better, and he can't wait for the time that both of them are out on the streets together, doing good. Ben knows that saving people comes natural to him since it's technically in his DNA, but he's beginning to struggle with the existential stuff, like if he's being Spider-Man the right way, since the voice in his head has stopped asking who is Spider-Man and moved on to what is Spider-Man. Ben voices his suspicions of Beyond and their interests as breaking news comes over the TV reporting on an armed bank robbery. Ben knows that he was saved by the bell there, thanking Peter for the talk as he leaves the room, running into MJ and telling her he'll take a rain check on the Cocoa Bar. Leaving the hospital, he turns on his locator with Marcus frantically telling his techs to try and get through to Ben, knowing the man did something to his suit. Ben tells him that he's on his way as he finds the stolen armored car, taking down the armed goons inside before saving a little girl from the driverless van as it smashes into a concrete barricade. Spider-Man calms the girl, knowing that while that was scary, she now is friends with Spider-Man and can tell all her friends that as well. Marcus calls Ben back, but the hero knows that he definitely told the man that he was willing to be a team player. Marcus knows that he did a great job with that last crime, but he's not done yet since a Beyond board member, Andrew Ayres, activated his security ping, knowing that he's had a break-in at his penthouse. Ben doesn't think that babysitting billionaire board members meets the definition of doing good, but Marcus says that Air has some people who are worried for him. Ben relents, heading to the apartment where he finds signs of a struggle. Someone calls out for him to help, and he finds Andrew passed out in the room next door, all thanks to a dart in his neck. Ben wonders who was calling his name then, when suddenly the room explodes. Ben is confronted by Kraven the Hunter, who says that he learned the calls of thousands of animals, but Spider-Man's was the broken moans of a dying man. Spider-Man tries to attack, but Kraven dodges the injured man, hitting him in the face, saying that he brings him an offering of his greatest hunt ever. Ben tries to get his head clear as Kraven attacks with his sword, hearing that Spider-Man now works for a corporate master, and it's why he targeted the pencil pushers since they sent their great champion to save them. Ben is glad that the villain really thinks he's great, but Kraven says that he has a great spirit, missing it greatly, and he admires his ability to make light of his heavy work. Spider-Man thinks that it's time for some fresh air, diving out of the penthouse window and swinging away, but he's immediately hit by a barrage of darts before his spider sense could even warn him properly. Ben lands on a rooftop as his suit warns him of all of the toxins now in his system, all of which begin having an effect on him as Kraven appears, his head now a blazing lion's head, as he says that Spider-Man should rejoice since his great awakening has begun.